Hello, I am Lily Benson. I am in Group 8, but my partner and I did the simulation 220 separately, so we will be doing the 220 presentation separately. I'm going to share my screen and start the presentation. All right. So first I'll be talking about the EBT. My EBT on my sheet was 240,358. And then the actual EBT I got during the simulation was 310,354. The EBT is earning before taxes, so this is basically my revenue that I got after subtracting taxes and like loans. I didn't change my prices that much in my planning spreadsheet. I changed the prices of Alley Cat, but did not really change the prices of Edgar and Taj Mahal Ale, which I'll get into later when we're talking about pricing. During the simulation, though, I did alter the prices a lot more, determining demand. The difference overall was 69,996, and I think that's a pretty large difference from my planning spreadsheet. Usually it seems that it's kind of the opposite way, where I usually, in previous simulations, I had a difference of a higher estimated and then a lower actual, but in this simulation, I actually had a much higher actual. So my demand analysis, I took the demand of each analysis, I put through the monthly sales history, which is of each ale, as you can see, starting from Alley Cat, Edgar, and then Taj Mahal, and then the 12, I put the months on the bottom. As you could tell, the demand of Alley Cat spikes generally in the summer months and early summer months. Edgar demand stays relatively in the middle, but really elevates towards the end, and Taj Mahal is pretty in the middle, constant. I mean, it has fluctuating up and down, but for the median of that would be right around in the middle, not really changing. So the 2024 forecast, though, would be about the same. When looking at a forecast of all three, they all stayed around the same, where Alley Cat was a seasonal ale and would elevate in the summer, and Edgar was also elevating towards the end of the year, and then Taj Mahal was staying constant throughout the year. Sales and forecast. So as you can see, I just did Alley Cat because that's my main selling ale, and I wanted to really focus on Alley Cat for this slide. Alley Cat sales were much higher than the ones I had planned. The darker gray line is the planned sales that I had calculated in my planning spreadsheet, and as you can see, the demand was much higher, which I had to adjust the prices to do that. Later on, you will see that I had a lot of lost sales in Alley Cat, and that was because I didn't adjust the price to be on the demand. That's something that I should have done, is I should have seen that the demand was much higher than I thought and adjusted my prices to be higher so that the demand would be less and I would have less lost sales. My inventory, I started out with lower inventory in Alley Cat, higher in Edgar, and higher in Taj Mahal. The end inventory, I had a decent amount of Alley Cat left over, I had a lot of Edgar Ale left over, and I had a lesser amount of Taj Mahal. I would have rather had those three differences to be negative so that I would have had less ending inventory and I would have not lost as much at the end. I think that something I could have done is I could have planned more for the Edgar. I could have slowly stopped producing that along with the Alley Cat, and I could have lowered the price greatly of Edgar. Something I didn't do is I didn't lower my prices right away towards the end. I should have in November. I should have immediately dropped my prices so that I could have gotten rid of as much inventory as I could without losing profit. And I didn't do that. So that's something that I should have done and will be doing if I do this simulation again. So lost sales. I didn't have many lost sales. The first 3 months were completely clear, except for 226 of Edgar Ale in March. So where I really see lost sales is in August and September, mainly, or July and August, where I lose a decent amount of Alley Cat. Again, this is due to the fact that I didn't raise my prices enough during the summer months, and I was letting it all sell out. So I was producing a lot of alley cat, but I also didn't increase my prices to be enough to meet that demand. So even though I was producing enough, it was just being sold over and over and over again, and I was having lost sales. I don't believe I would have had lost sales if I increased the price of alley cat to meet the demand. And those would have just been in the summer months. I think the rest of the prices were fine for alley cat because I didn't have lost sales at the end. I did have an amount, I had more than I needed, so I should have decreased prices more. So this is the rest. Obviously, I lost some more in August, and there's a total of 9,701, which is high, and I did not calculate any lost sales in my spreadsheet. So that's completely something that changed due to the simulation, and I believe that's because I was going against other competitors, and they were changing their prices as well, which is completely changing the demand. And maybe my prices were not competitive with other teams' prices, so that was causing me to have lost sales. So I should have seen that, and I should have changed my price to meet my demand. So production and plan. As you can see in the green, I have my plan of what I was going to do. I was going to slowly start producing more alley cat until I got to around 8,000, kept that pretty easy throughout the beginning of the summer, and then drop that as soon as I hit July because the demand was going to go down. But then I continued to produce, and I continued to produce at least one production order of it per month, which is why it doesn't drop to zero in that 12th month. So what actually happened was I produced a constant amount, and then I increased a lot, decreased around the same that I had a plan, but then I completely stopped production at the end because I had such a buildup of alley cat that was not selling because no one wanted to buy it. What I would have done again is I would have lowered my price, and maybe I would have sold through that and been able to continue to produce, because I do think continuing producing is very important. So my pricing analysis. So changing alley cat was a big priority of mine in my planning spreadsheet, but I didn't really look at Edgar Ale or Taj Mahal. In the future, I would also focus on those two. I now know that dropping my price in November would have helped me sell all of the remaining ale that I have with continuing a profit, so as long as it's still over that manufacturing price. So alley cat, you can see the blue is the price that I sold it for, and the orange is the price that I was planning on selling it for. In the simulation, I didn't account for my human error of forgetting to change the price to a higher price during July and August. So if you can see, the blue line is much lower than my orange. I was planning to go up to $17 in August, and I completely forgot and kept it at 16. And I think that greatly affected my demand and my lost sales. For Edgar, you could see that I barely changed it. I only changed it by a matter of cents. And then as soon as I saw how much demand it was getting, I immediately skyrocketed the price to $17 to try to get that demand down, try to not get any lost sales. So I do think that was due to my competitors, because in my spreadsheet, I wasn't losing sales with my $15 Edgar Ale, but in the simulation I was, so I had to increase the price and not follow my spreadsheet. So I tried to pay off loans as fast as possible. I looked at the rates first, and I saw which one had the highest rate, and I paid off that one first. And then I went to the machinery, plant, and equipment, which is a rate of 7, and I immediately paid that one off second, and then 5, and then I was not able to pay off the entire building and improvement, but I slowly would put some money into it. It was most important to me that I got the main 3 that I could pay off completely paid off as fast as possible. My cash analysis, I started with $190,000 in cash. Most of my cash went towards my loans. As you can see, there's many sudden drops in cash, and that is definitely me paying off higher amounts of loans. I ended with 90,000, which is still a higher amount, and it's a difference of 100,000. My goal was to end around 100,000, because then I was able to pay off anything extra and have some wiggle room there. But I do think that my cash and my loans went hand in hand during the simulation, which wasn't exactly something I was planning for in my planning spreadsheet. I think that next time I did this, in something I would do different would be to plan out an actual loan sheet of when I should pay them off and how often, and actually follow the monthly payments. All right, so in summary, what was supposed to happen is I was supposed to have no lost sales, and I was supposed to end with an EBT of 300,000. I did complete the 300,000. I got 310,000, but I did not have no lost sales. I did end up having lost sales. So I had mostly lost sales in Alley Cat, and I had a couple in Edgar in the very beginning, but I think my main point of lost sales would be Alley Cat in the later July, August months. So the facts here are that the price did not meet the demand. The price I needed to increase and decrease it to meet the demand of people, so I wasn't having lost sales. I didn't do that in the simulation, and I would do that in the future. Why was there a difference? There is a difference in the simulation versus the planning scenario because I had competitors in the simulation. I had people also changing their prices. I had a market. I had emails incoming. I had human error with the pricing. So that is what's completely different about this simulation, is that I was not in control of other teams' pricing, and I was not in control of other teams' demand. So what can be learned? I think the main takeaway to this presentation and to this simulation would be to really focus on all aspects of the price. I understand that putting most of my effort into Alley Cat was good, but I do think that when changing prices, I needed to look at all three, and I needed to pay closer attention to the demand and price and how they meet. All right, that concludes my presentation. I am going to stop sharing my slides and end the video. Thank you.